Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. It is always awesome to have you here joining us, and a big welcome to those of you who are listening to the show for the first time. For this one, I'm sitting down with Jibri Bell, a world traveler and seeker who has visited over 47 countries now, and he is on a mission to spread love and light to the world. Jibri's story is one of shifting perspectives, inner work, and spiritual awakening. Jibri opens up about his struggle with racial identity in America and how embracing his humanity allowed him to finally feel seen. We talk about the cost of performance, living to impress, projecting fake lifestyles, and the inner emptiness that can lead to depression when you're not being true to yourself. Jibri shares the lessons from his experiences on reality TV, his powerful 5Fs framework for building a solid life foundation, and his dark retreat in Bali, where he sat alone with nothing but his thoughts and his truth. This conversation explores the fear of success, the danger of dying without having shared your unique gift with the world, and how love and relationships, real love, can completely shift your internal state by being the biggest mirror for growth. If you've ever felt trapped by societal labels or expectations, stuck in your own head, or just feel as though you have a fear of stepping into your full potential, this episode will speak to your soul. I loved Jibri's energy in this one. It's so contagious. And yeah, I find him to be a true inspiration. So yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on this one. If you can please like, subscribe, and kindly leave a review, it would mean that we can reach more men who are navigating their journey. Thank you so much. I'm Harrison, and this is the Growth Voyage podcast. Enjoy. Jibri, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend.
Great to have you on. Welcome. And yeah, as always, a good place I like to start with these types of conversations is, right, who are you? And what life experiences have brought you up to this point in time today?
Yeah, man. I'm super grateful to be here. It was awesome meeting you. I met you on the beach in Bali with the Bali Brotherhood. And I feel like we are brought together for a reason, man. So I'm super grateful. And my name is Jibri Bell. I am a creative nomad. I am a traveling philanthropist. I love to do philanthropy all over the world. My mission is to see every single country in the world and make an impact in every single country in the world. So I've been to over 47 countries, and this is now where I'm at now, which is Bali, Indonesia, which I have so much love and respect for the Balinese people. I have so much love and respect for the people who travel to this island, who are working on themselves and becoming the greatest version of themselves. It seems like this attracts people who are not only spiritual, but people who are really serious about their fitness and about their health. And that inspires me, seeing, guys that are in their 60s come here and are in jacked shape with six packs, and I'm like, okay, you're jacked, guy. See that? But then you're doing a handstand for 10 minutes and doing the splits. I'm like, man, what? So there's a lot of superheroes that come here, and I get value just by being around them, because when you're around people that are amazing, incredible people, you get better by just being by proximity. So you were one of those people. I saw you. I'm like, man, this dude look like a Viking right here, man. This dude's, you strong, you fit, brother. You're well spoken. So when you asked me, you're like, hey, you got to do the podcast. I was like, all right, that's it. Let's do it. So yeah, I'm just grateful to be here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you touched upon a really interesting point there. You absorb so much of your surroundings, and I wonder if that was a big part in what you're doing now. Is that what sort of inspired you to travel quite a lot as well? I think a lot of the time we do end up being quite narrow-minded naturally, right? Whether it's our home environment or home country, and a lot of people don't really believe they can change, and perhaps they're quite closed off to the world. And you've also mentioned, right, you can actually learn so much from other people if we're able to absorb that in. So was that sort of a big factor in your journey then, bro? Was it, okay, you know what, there's more to life than what I'm seeing? And how did that journey start for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that traveling and the passport has been my college degree, because I didn't go to a college. I went and just traveled the world, and I never stopped traveling. So I've been traveling since I was 17 years old, and the passport has taught me so much because I've been able to connect with different cultures and communities all over the world. So, you know, I'm from America, and in America, most people don't have a passport. I think it's really like a 50% split where a lot of people don't have a passport because they don't feel the need to travel. And I think that's unfortunate, you know. And traveling for a lot of my friends back home is, you know, going to Vegas for the weekend, going to Florida, Miami. Maybe if there's a wedding or something, they'll get out to Mexico. But that's about it for a lot of the people that I grew up with. So I wanted to see what was, you know, beyond the veil. I wanted to see what there was in the world. And that first country was Serbia. That was the country for me. That's the country that changed my life, man. I even get goosebumps as I'm talking about it. Like, it brings tears to my eyes how much I love Serbia, and the Serbian people. They've completely transformed my life, and they saved my life. Yeah, so I spend a lot of my time in Eastern Europe and Southeast Europe and Serbia, and I travel all around the Balkans. That's Southeast Europe and Southeast Asia in particular are such great homes for me. They're safe havens for me in the world. Southeast Europe in particular, because it's like a very strong culture. They're Balkan people, so they're very, you must drink with me. You are a big man. You are strong, Harrison. You must drink this drink here. Drink this rakia. You know, they're strong. They're like, it's like just this alpha male energy, this masculine energy that I love and I embrace, and I'm so grateful for. It's like having a grandpa or a father when you go there. I feel like I have a father or a grandfather looking after me when I'm in Southeast Europe. And then when I come to Southeast Asia, countries like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, they make me feel so peaceful, and it's like a womanly embrace, especially Bali. Bali feels Mama Bali. This place feels like a mother, a grandmother holding me, and just like, you know, Suksama, Om Swastiastu, you know, Terima kasih. When I go to Thailand, it's to say Sawadee krap, Sawadee mai, Sawadee pimai. Like, they just feel like, oh, grandma's holding me, you know? And that's how it's felt for me as someone who is a person of color, traveling the world. These are the two places that just have shown me so much love, and I'm just like, man, thank you.
That's a great point. I feel as though the places often that we grow up in, but it's a good point. I think generally speaking, the energy isn't always going to match who we are, right? And I think a lot of the time, if we are thinking about our home environment, it's not necessarily going to be matched there, and we might have curiosity, right? Okay, are we going to try different places? But a lot of the time, people might have had the curiosity you had and thought, okay, no, I can't travel the world. I can't do that. Like you said, 50% of people might not have had that opportunity even. So what gave you this spark to go, you know what, I'm just going to do this? And you also mentioned that in Serbia, you were saved in a way, right?
Yeah.
So how did that come about? What was your sort of story looking into that? And how did you find that sense of belonging there? You perhaps maybe didn't get back home, I presume?
Yeah, so for me, you know, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. I grew up with Indians and cowboys. You know, I grew up with strong indigenous people, you know, the Lakota people. So I grew up with the sweats and the powwows and the beating of drums and the Native American culture in America. But also, you know, my grandpa's a cowboy, so I grew up with the cowboy mentality as well. So I had a great upbringing, but I just definitely wasn't a cowboy. You know what I mean? Like, I was, but I was just, there was more for me than just being on a ranch, you know? So when I was able to finally see my first country, that was Serbia. And, you know, what happened was I was in school and I was a troublemaker. I used to get in a lot of trouble, you know. I used to get in a lot of fights. I used to be very insubordinate, and really is because I was super creative And I just didn't feel like an outlet. I had an outlet at the time. I didn't have music or dance, the things that I'm passionate about, or the fashion that I'm passionate about. So I didn't have those at the time, and I was really upset and angry. And I thought I was way tougher than I actually was, man. I wasn't as tough as I thought I was, but I was projecting. So what happened was one day at school, this foreign exchange student showed up at school, and his name was David. I thought he was a Russian kid because I didn't know, where he's from at the time. And he showed up, and I'm like, look at this Russian kid thinks he's tough, right? To all my friends. And he's like, I'm not from Russia, I'm from Serbia. And I was like, Serbia? Like, that's Russia, Siberia. And he's like, no, Serbia. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I kept kind of making fun of him. And then after school, he hit me in the head again. Next thing you know, he's kicking me on the ground. Next thing you know, I'm in the hospital. And I'm waking up in the hospital. I was knocked out in the hospital, and my mom's sitting there crying. And I'm like, what happened? And I just realized, like, I just got my ass beat. That's what happened, And so fast forward to that, my mom was like, you know what? Jibri, I can't take care of you anymore. You're not listening. You're in and out of jail as a young man. So they sent me to a military boot camp. It was a Marine boot camp, which saved my life. And I worked out every day. I got into fitness. I got into a routine. I stopped getting in trouble. I got out of the boot camp in about 3 months. And then I went to a party. And I went to this party, and I saw like the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. And she was singing this song in the corner. She was like, Znam, za jeden grad, zove se Beograd, Znam. I was like, what language is that? And she's like, this is Serbian. And I'm like, Siberian? And she's like, no, Serbian. And I was like, Syrian? And she was like, no, oh my God, these Americans don't know their geography. It's Serbia. And I was like, okay, Serbia. So I was like, I don't know where that's at, but you're very beautiful. You want to go on a date with me? So we went on a date. We started dating. And then a month later, she's like, let me introduce you to my mother. I saw her mother. And I was like, hello, nice to meet you. And she's like, let me introduce you to my twin brother. And then he walked out of the room, and I was like, oh man. She's like, you know him? I'm like, yeah, that's the guy who just beat me up 3 months ago, put me in the hospital. Like, that's the guy who just whooped my ass. So I'm like, I didn't want to fight him anymore, but I was like, hey, I'm with your sister now, so we're even, So fast forward, me and her, we end up breaking up. But me and her twin brother, the guy who beat me up, we became best friends. And he took me to Serbia for the first time when I was 19 years old. And that's where I got this awakening to travel. That's where I got this travel bug. I literally went to Serbia for the first time, and this country just completely changed my life. That was 2011, 2012. I just was blown away by the way I was treated. I was treated like a human. I had always been in America, like, I'm too white to be black. I'm too black to be white. I'm too white to be black. I'm too black to be white. There was all this tension with identity and racial struggles and understanding myself living in America. And when I went to Eastern Europe for the first time, all of that faded away, and I was just a human. And it was the first time I realized I was an American. I had never called myself that before. I was always just a mixed kid, a black kid. That's how I would identify. But then when I left and I went to Eastern Europe for the first time, I was like, no, I'm an American, man. This is different. It kind of changed something in my mind. And then the way I was treated there was with so much respect, so much love, so much hospitality. And I just changed my life. So I have to shout out to my brother, which is now my godfather, David. Thank you for beating me up and putting me in the hospital, man. I appreciate it, because what that did for me was kick my ass into the reality of what the world is, which is way more than your hometown.
Yeah, that's such an important point. And it sounds like you sort of had that sense of belonging, right, which you didn't get back home. On the one hand, it makes you question, like, okay, what society was actually brought up in? What are the stories we're being told about the world? Again, you look at this on social media, it's all division and polarization. This is why I say get out of that whole world, mate. Go out and explore and see for yourself, and you realize a lot of the time it's not what it's made out to be. And no. I think for me as well, I love listening to your story because I resonated with it a lot. I found it very difficult growing up, right? I had quite low self-esteem. I had trouble fitting in. But when I was 18, I went solo traveling around Europe. And again, went to Prague, Vienna, Slovenia, and all these different places. And meeting other people, I've realized, okay, actually people are listening to me and they like me for who I am, not for who I'm trying to be. And
Right.
I think a lot of people struggle with that, is trying to conform to this identity, and people try and keep you in this identity that you may have not even created for yourself, or you've either created it based off of societal conditioning or they've created it for you. And I think subconsciously that's going to go into your brain, right? And you're going to limit your opportunities. And that's why I think if you're lost and you're unsure of what to do, like you've said, go out to another country and explore the world. And you touched upon a great point there of belonging,
Yeah.
right? Once you surround yourself with people who accept you and love you and hold you for who you are, suddenly your whole outlook on life changes as well, because this story that you've told yourself is no longer true. Suddenly
Right.
you start being more open towards the world, right?
100%. And I think that the thought process that we're that much different than one another starts to fade away. You know, once you realize that there's one race, the human race, you know, and that's what I am. I'm human. I don't have to identify as any of these other things that you put me in. I identify as human, and I'm going to treat every human the same way, whether it's the CEO, the influencer, the homeless man, the criminal, the mafia boss. I don't care what it is. You are human, and I'm going to respect you as such. And I think that that's been a result of traveling and going to the slums and the favelas and the you know, the places where most people wouldn't be able to go or wouldn't want to go. And then also going to, you know, the tops of the boardrooms and going into the parties and to the award shows and the ceremonies and the places that most people don't get invited to, and seeing that we're all human, man, and we all just want to be loved. I think that that's important, but you don't get to see that if you don't travel, if you stay in your hometown. So if anyone's listening to this right now, I mean, just book the flight overnight, just travel, just go every single place you can possibly go. And what the benefit of traveling too is that when you've had trauma from your childhood or from a previous partner in a relationship, or just through life, if you've been battered and beaten down, you've had damage in your head, right? You've wrecked some neural pathways, and the way to bring those neural pathways back and to realign everything and to reignite your mind is to travel, is to go to different places, because it breaks your matrix, it breaks the frame in your head, and it gives you a difference. Even you talking about, man, I want to go to Australia, but why am I feeling so good here in Bali? Well, maybe because I'm seeing Dr. Sun every day, and I'm getting the scooter every day, and I'm getting dopamine flowing through me. You know, you're like, I've created a lifestyle here that I wouldn't have thought was possible, right? Because you were able to come here.
And that's what I mean, right? I think a lot of the time people think they've got a good life. I think back home, and that could very well be true, but their perception of good is only going to be based off of their experiences of the world, right? And this is what I mean. I think if there's a feeling in you that, okay, there could be something more, but okay, like, life's pretty good. I've got a stable job, and you know, I've got family around me, friends, and you know, that's all cool. But then I think until you do, like you said, get that one-way ticket and just travel around the world more, how are you going to know that that's the best place for you? And how can you really make that judgment that that's the best thing for you? These are the best people you should be hanging around with, unless you get exposed to other points of view, right?
Yep.
How have you managed to, have you always had such an open mind, or was it just being in Serbia opened you up to that? Because I think a lot of people, again, we've got these perceptions of, like you were saying, I've been to slums, I've been to boardrooms, and a lot of people have this preconceived notion of what those places are without having been to them, right? So
Right.
how have you managed to maintain an open mind while also trusting your intuition about things and places and people?
I think that I was fortunate and blessed because my grandmother is Jewish, my uncle is, you know, Muslim, my mother and father are Buddhist, and the rest of my family is Christian. So I grew up in a different household with all of the faiths. You know, I was familiar with all the faiths, and I've also been able to travel and be a part of all of the faiths. And now I can say I've been baptized, you know, to Orthodox religion, but I've identify my religion as love, because I have so much love from all of the religions, all of the spiritualities, and I learn so much from each and every one of them. So I think that's kept an open mind, is the way that I was raised. I was raised to, to really ask questions and not just do as I was told. So I've always asked questions. When I'm in Bali, I was asking about the flowers that I need to put down in front of my room with the incense and the bread and the crumbs for the ants, just thinking about that offering and what that means to the Balinese people. And I asked them if they could teach me more about that, and, wearing the udong, and when I'm in Bali and learning more about the culture and the Balinese people, because I love them so much. The Balinese people have taught me to smile. That's the biggest thing I've learned from the Balinese people, is to smile, because I've seen so many different countries and met so many different people, and the Balinese people are always smiling. And I think it's important to smile. I think that if there's one thing that I could say thank you for to Bali and the Balinese people, is that they really put a grin on my face. They made me smile. So, suksama.
It's those little moments, isn't it, where we get the most magic out of. I think a lot of the time we think it's something external that will give us that, but I think the magic is in these small moments, man. Like I said, I go to my favorite warung, and she's there is happy to see me. She knows that I'm going to spend it's not even about this, but I'll spend 5 times as much money on a massive portion. And the magic is in just the moment of me just keep on ordering food. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
And I think just that smile. And then when I go to the laundry place and then I'm offering there, she's like, oh, hello, good to see you. And that's where the magic is, really, man.
Yeah, because you could go to Germany, or you could go to, some place that's cold right now in London, or some other place that you might feel, and spend the same amount of money with the same amount of people. And a lot of people are on autopilot, and they are not happy at all to do their job or to serve you from their business, or they don't care as much. So, and I think a lot of that is being out of touch with nature and not being in the present moment. So I think when you have rent that costs $3,000 a month, and a job that you can't stand, and a boss that you don't like, and you're in the cold, and I don't blame those people for feeling that way. But if you do feel that way, man, travel. You may get out of that situation. Try as best as you can, man. You got to follow your heart. You have to follow your heart. You have to. I have so many friends in my life that have so much money and crypto and cars and clothes and boats and everything else, but they just don't have passion. They don't have fulfillment, because they're not following their purpose. They are living outside of themselves to impress people that don't care about them. So when you fall in that trap as well, that's hard, and I haven't got it all figured out by any means at all either, but I have figured out that I like to keep moving, and I like to keep doing things for others. The more I do for other people, the better I feel. The more I feel aligned with my purpose and my passion, which is to travel the world and help as many people as I possibly can, through fitness, through philanthropy, through smiling at people, through music, through just, supporting up and coming entrepreneurs, and, being on really cool podcasts and talking to new friends, and, just showing love, spreading love and light.
I love that. And I think that openness is really what we need to strive for. Unfortunately, what I think happens a lot of the time, we start off as a kid with this abundance of love, and then through our subjective experiences or our reaction to these experiences, we end up shutting off, right? And it can be through, like you said, a relationship that didn't quite go the way you planned, or it could be perhaps something was said to you when you were younger. And unfortunately, all these experiences, they close us off to the world. And in my experience, the reason why I've been able to sort of access this joy out of life is by being more open.
Right.
And, there's certain people I have to thank for that. My girlfriend being one of them, right? Just being able to really open up my heart and being blessed, being seen. Like you were saying with your story in Serbia, man, people actually saw you for the first time, and and it's like being seen as a real.
Show me so much love, man. I love those people. So what did you like to do as a child?
I like to play football. I was always smiling. It's interesting that you mentioned smiling because I used to smile at everyone. And even strangers would be like, there was one instance where I think my mum told me this story. She said, I would always smile at people. And then one guy said, don't smile at me, mate, smile at your dad. Because I just used to smile at people all the time. And that was my thing. I was just always smiling. And I was just like constantly like this. And it's very interesting because I work with sort of people pleasers, right? And a lot of the time there's this niceness, but it's as a strategy to avoid rejection and to gain the approval of other people, right? And that's where I find this stuff super, super interesting because I think ultimately, if we do open up our heart, then we can act from a genuine place of love and be more open to the world. And this people pleasing aspect, that's why I find it super interesting because, right, are you really operating out of a place of love, or are you minimizing yourself and putting other people's needs and perceptions of you first? That's what I think some people struggle with because they're closed off because at one point when they were open, they didn't receive that love back. And I think that holds people back from, like you said, being open to the world, because that is the key, I think. Like your approach, open to the world, give love to everyone, and you'll receive that back. But I think there is resistance there, right?
100%. Yeah, I think it definitely. I could see that. I'm such an extrovert. I get energy from people, so I love to know people's stories. I love to connect with humans. I just love human beings, man. I really do. I really love them. I love them. I like to understand them. I like to get to know them. I've met so many different humans from all walks of life, and it's just been a journey, man. It's been such a journey.
It's just an endless learning experience.
Oh, endless.
This is what I mean, because it's not even learning about humans, it's learning about yourself.
Right, 100%.
And your perceptions.
Because humans are just a mirror for you. So, like, how people respond to you is the energy that you are obviously giving out to other people. So, people usually... We say in America, like, the golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. And I think that's the best thing I've ever learned in school. Is like, which that should be a whole course about that, is just treating others with respect. Because when you treat others with respect and love, man, they almost have no option but to give you the same respect and love,
I remember seeing someone talk about, what I've noticed with successful people is that they're very consistent. And he was talking about, they take action and they just take action consistently over a longer period of time.
Right.
And that I resonate with. It's a slight edge, the compounding effect. But then my perception was actually they're very consistent in the way they treat people.
Yeah.
And that's something I've observed with you. It doesn't matter where someone's come from, you are the same and you're consistent. And
Thanks,
I think
man.
that is probably the most important thing people can embody, right? Don't fucking pander to someone just because they're perceived to be at a certain level, because everyone's got their own insecurities, their own problems, and I think, and perhaps you'd agree with this, right? No matter where in society you might think someone's at or your perception of them, I think the struggles it's the same emotions that people are feeling, right?
Yep.
And that goes throughout all the different areas of life.
Yeah, I think being consistent with how you treat others and also being authentic and just having empathy. Empathy is key. And you don't have to be an asshole to be successful. You don't have to be a bad or mean person, but you also don't have to be an overly nice person that gets taken advantage of. You want to be a good person, not a nice person. And that's important, to stand on 2 feet and be able to tell somebody no, to not be able to sell your soul under pressure or be bought out by anybody that's going to compromise your image or your likeliness. But also it's good to have mentors in the game. Like for me, I have a mentor, Gary V, and Gary V has been so impactful on my life, because seeing him, how he moves in person, how he moves with his family, how he moves with his coworkers, how he moves with his employees, how he moves with everybody, his fans, his supporters. He is so tenaciously, authentically himself and so passionate. And to see somebody who is successful, which that word success to me just means doing what you want when you want. But seeing him really motivated me, because I was like, wow, he has been in this VCon, that he has thrown, and he has been shaking hands for 10 hours and he hasn't lost it. And he gave every single person the same amount of his time, his energy, and he was consistent. And I was like, if he can do that, I can do that. So Gary Vee was, shout out to Gary Vee. Gary Vee was definitely that person that I got to see, because I've met plenty of celebrities and pretty much all the superheroes that I wanted to meet throughout my life, I've been able to meet. And he was one of the superheroes where I was like, man, I'm going to follow this method, and anybody that I meet, it doesn't matter. Like I said, if it's somebody taking out the trash, or the person mopping the floor, the janitor, if it's a criminal, if it's someone who's, homeless on the street, or if it's the CEO celebrity or the beautiful supermodel, I'm going to treat them all with respect. So that was a cool takeaway. So shout out to Gary Vee.
I love that. There's a couple points you can take away from that. First of all, if you want to model something, or I remember the example that I saw was, okay, if you want to learn how a successful relationship looks like, hang around people who are in successful relationships. And if you want to embody confidence, the best way you can do that is by hanging around confident people. And I mean, authentically confident. If you want to be more authentic, hang around authentic people. That's what you've done. And I think clearly that's obviously rubbed off on you. And then if you're operating that, I think you're going to inspire people to do that as well. This is my philosophy. I think we can all become role models, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the time we're looking outwards. We're thinking, okay, maybe I need to be like this guy or this guy. You just need to be you.
Right.
Authentically you. That's what I think. And if you show up in that way, then people will be inspired by that. And a lot of the time, I think we follow the crowd. Right. At school, we're like, okay, right, if we're different, then we'll be shut down, right? We've got to, and you mentioned it as well, growing up in the US, there's this, division, and okay, right, I need to be part of a tribe and do what everyone else is doing. I actually think, screw what everyone else is doing. Be you, and be the one who actually steps outside and is different. And you'll find that actually people probably, if it's meant to be, they will follow you. Right. People will follow you. Your tribe will connect with you,
100%.
You see them. And again, I noticed this with myself. There was a lot of resistance to me. Again, it comes back to love. For me, a lot of the resistance came because I wanted to show up authentically. I wanted to show love to the world, but there was this subconscious fear of judgment, right? Oh, what if I show love, or what if I express gratitude and love towards this person? Maybe people will judge me or perceive me to be a certain way. It's so, so important. You have the strength to go, you know what? This is what I feel in this moment. That is your intuition. Do it. Yep. And I think the second that you sort of start second guessing yourself, then you're falling back into that trap of just trying to fit in. And then ironically, you're not really fitting in anyway, because you're just not being yourself, right?
And not being yourself. Oh man, it's it's such a complicated game, this game called life. But I think it comes down to just taking a deep breath and just having gratitude, gratitude for everything, for the hard times, for the good times. It's just a blessing that we're on this spinning rock together, I'm grateful, bro. I'm grateful that we're here together, bro. It's a trip. It's a trip, and I love it, man. I love every single bit of it.
But it's crazy. Yeah. This is what I mean. You gotta wake up, see what's happening. We're literally here. It's fucking crazy, bro. Yeah. The fact that we're here, now the chances of us just even being born into this world and then making this into our reality. And I was saying this the other day. I said, I genuinely think I'm living my dream life now. And I haven't necessarily got a huge ton of external shit either. It's just I've just got this. I'm just connected to something. Greater.
Well, did you ever play video games growing up? Did you ever play World of Warcraft or any of these MMORPGs? Did you ever play any of those games?
I was a GTA.
Okay, GTA. Well, GTA is a good example, but it's the funnest time playing those games is when you first start playing the game and you don't really know what's going on, and you're first doing the mission and then you're doing the second mission and you're like, this is so exciting, and you're trying to figure out the rules and the controls and the cheat codes. that's kind of where I feel like is the best time in the game. So if we put that into our own life and our own perspective, you know, starting your podcast app and having it up for 7 to 8 months and the trials and the errors and figuring out, like, this is the fun part. This is the fun part that you got to embrace. Being the beginner, being the novice, that's actually the best part of the journey, because when you look back at it, you're like, man, I was 5 years old. I was playing football. I was smiling. It was like, yeah, but like at that time you might have been like, man, I just can't wait till I'm 10 so I can do this, or I can't wait till I'm 16 so I could drive, or Bob, I want to get 18 so I can move out the house. You know, like you rush the game. It's like, nah, bro, this is the best part. This is the best part, because it is. Every part is the best part. So it's just putting that into perspective is like, you just play the game exactly where it's at right now and know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. And sometimes that's so hard. And then you got to keep repeating missions. Sometimes you got to keep going back over the same mission because you keep making the same mistake. And that's like hard, you know, whether it be with relationships, maybe you're doing the same thing over, or with businesses, maybe you're doing the same thing over, or starting and stopping, or procrastination, or it's like, yeah, I'm like, you can't get to the next level to beat Bowser until, you know, like you stop jumping the same way into that black hole, you know?
Oh, I love that analogy that you gave. Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got to approach life as a game almost. And I think the reason why I think a lot of people struggle is because they take the game of life too seriously. And when you take a game too seriously, you're not going to enjoy it.
No, and you can take the game serious. I take life very seriously. I take the trials and the tribulations, the wars happening right now, the people struggling, the people that don't have access to clean water. Like, I take that stuff very, very seriously. But as far as Jibri, as far as me, man, I'm the biggest goofball there is on the planet, bro. Like, I don't take myself that seriously. I take myself serious because I want to do right and do good and have fun time and just be me and be free and Jibri and let everybody know what there is about me that can help them. But at the end of the day, man, like, it's not about me. It's a human collective. You know, we are on this planet together playing the same game, and life is not a single player game. It's a multiplayer game. And it's a great opportunity to give back and help each other. And that's the best thing, man, when you can just give back and help, when you can support somebody else, man, whether it's just even like us, like I said, with these Balinese people, man, a smile. You know how far a smile goes? Smile goes so far, man.
And this is what I noticed when I was in Melbourne, in the city. When people would ask me for money, right? Sometimes I'd say, look, I've genuinely got no cash here.
Right.
I'd love to help you. And they say, oh, thank you so much for noticing me. And that hits quite deep as well. So they just want to be seen.
Right, yeah. Some people need to be seen, just need a hug. A lot of people just need a hug. A lot of people want to be seen. A lot of people just need a hug, man, or a smile. Just need love. So many people need love, you know? Love you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Love you, bro.
So much.
I just met you and I love you, man. I think that a lot of people don't get to say that, or they feel like that word should be protected and not used as much. And I understand that too, but bro, I love you, man. And I tell that to my brothers back home, my sisters back home. It's like, I love you. You know, a lot of the times in America too, especially in the black community, we say like love, just love. It's like cool, but it's like, nah, I love you. You know, it's love, but like, I love you. Like, I have to remind my brothers and sisters back home, like, I love you, man. And that's okay to say that, because if we don't say that, we forget to say that, you know, and it's important because you never know how long we have to play the game. You know, this could be the last round around the board, you know, past go, and that might be it. You know what I mean? So like, you know, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it, bro.
That's it. It's so simple, really. We try and overcomplicate it, and again, there's going to be resistance, right? If you tell someone you love them, because of the walls we've put up, right?
Yeah.
And because of what society showed us, like, okay, like, hang on, what's that going on? I think we need to then, you know, just, if you're feeling resistance, then that's probably a sign that you need to say it to someone, right?
Right.
And just show love in all the ways that we possibly can. I think that's so important. And if we just embrace, get that sort of love for life, I think is super important. I think it'd be cool to touch upon that for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. How the sort of love for life has been cultivated for you, because a lot of people might sit there and they might think, oh, I want to get that love for life, but I just can't quite get out of my own head. You've mentioned sort of obviously spirituality there.
Yeah.
For me, I think that's a huge part of everything. Certainly was in my journey. I think especially in sort of Western culture, I think there's a lot of resistance to spirituality. I think the reality is spirituality is happening in this game, right? It's
Right.
all around us.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that journey has been for you, how you've become connected to that, because I do think there's a lot of resistance to there. And as a result, I think that's where the resistance of love comes from.
100%. Yeah, no, spirituality, somebody told me that, religion is for people that are scared of hell and spirituality is for people that have already lived through hell. And I've lived through hell. I've really lived through it. I was 15 years old when I tried to take my own life. I didn't want to be here on this planet anymore. I took several pills and overdosed and put my family through so much. And I've had so many people close to me that have taken their life within the last 4 years. So my mission is to create art and encourage others to live and find their power so they don't take their life, to show them that there is more in life. And when you're in your head, the first thing you need to do is get out of your head. And I think the best thing to do that is through physical movement, whether it's dancing, biking, running, swimming, walking, doing jujitsu, doing yoga, doing Muay Thai, whatever you need to do, hit the weights, hit the gym. I think that is going to help you release what you're thinking in your head and get into the physical body. Obviously, if you can get into meditation, that's amazing, or breath work, but that's hard for some people. So the best thing to do is just go on a walk. Everybody can try to go on a walk. And even if you can't go on a walk, just taking a deep breath in and just breathing out, that's important. And I have a community called the Angel Alliance. It's a group of like-minded individuals all over the world trying to become the best versions of themselves. And, we talk about faith is the number one thing for us. So having a connection to your higher power, whether that's, Yeshua, Shiva, Allah, ayahuasca, whatever it is for you. And then also having the connection with the second F, which is your fitness and your food, really dialing in those macros, making sure that you're eating foods that make you feel good, that are for you, that are going to help you, that are going to heal you, because food is medicine. And then having the fitness dialed in, making sure that you have a routine, even if it's just walking a little bit every day. That's better than sitting in your room being trapped in your head, because the idle mind is the devil's workshop. And then the third thing that I really stress on is the finances, because if you don't have the finances in order, it's really hard to be helpful for your friends, your family members, and also to other people, if you can't support other entrepreneurs and business people. So I would actually put those three things before I would put the family and the friends. A lot of people put their family and their friends first. So they say family first. It's like, yeah, but if you need to borrow money from your family and then you're not in physical good shape, so they have to come check you and take you to the doctor because you're having issues, and then you're not connected with your faith, so you're using your family and friends as therapists. That's not helpful either. So once you get those three things locked in, then you can really spend the time with the family members and the friends and make them the best versions of themselves. So that's kind of been the blueprint for me that's been helping me kind of get out of my head and get into having the ability to live a life where I bring people joy and I bring myself joy, and it feels like every day is a new adventure. Those are the 5 principles in my blueprint. And I check in with myself. I say, okay, how's my faith? 1 out of 10. Okay, I'm feeling like a 9. Okay, cool. How's my fitness? I'm feeling like a 10. How's my food? I'm feeling like a 10. I got my food plan, everything dialed in. Okay, how's my finances? Ooh, maybe I feel like a 6 or something. Maybe I've been spending too much money. Maybe I need to stop living so lavish. Maybe I can make some more money over here. Maybe I should do this side hustle. And then going, how's my family? Did I check in with my family today? I haven't talked to my mom in like a couple weeks. That's not good. I should call my mom. I should call my dad. I haven't checked in. Even just sending a text message or a voice note, I should do that. How are my friends? Am I hanging out with the right friends? Are the friends I'm hanging out with helping me or hurting me? Are these friends that want to go to the gym with me? Or are these friends that want to go party with me? Because I'm not interested in going to the party. I want to be at the gym working out, So when you can take inventory of your life and your 5 F's in your life, then once you have those fundamentals down, you'll see everything. You'll see freedom.
I love that, and can especially relate to the sort of physical part as well. Just moving your body, whether it's like you said, dancing. Sometimes I just love to have a boogie.
Yeah, you're jacked, bro. What do you do? What's your fitness routine like?
So it's been, I think, for 10 years about gym. So it's evolved. It used to be like hypertrophy stuff.
Okay.
And I do Dorian Yates style training.
What is Dorian Yates style training?
So he's a 6-time Mr. Olympia.
Oh, wow.
And he went, 45 minutes, 4 to 5 sets in total, 1 set of each exercise. till failure.
Wow.
So I did that for a long time. I had the privilege of training with him myself.
Oh, incredible.
And how motivating is that to have a 6-time Mr. Olympia?
Insane.
And that taught me a lot. It's, okay, we try and overcomplicate things, but just train hard, see how long you can go for. And then, yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. And then recently I've sort of opened my mind up to more sort of strongman stuff and doing strongman classes. So lifting heavy shit and moving about. Also do jiu-jitsu as well. But again, I think a lot of the time, I think when people ask, oh, what do you do for the gym? And I think it's just very simple a lot of the time. I think we can overcomplicate it. Just, all right, lift heavier than you did last time.
Right.
Or work harder than you did last time. Be consistent.
Yeah.
Like you said, if no one's expecting you to do, 5 2-hour workouts a week or whatever it may be, right? And we were talking about this before. I think just, find something that you're going to stick to and be consistent with.
Yep.
Follow that over time, show up for yourself, show
Yep.
yourself that you can trust yourself. And then with food, just double your body weight in protein. And I've just done that for 10 years and everything else. And then you can start looking into the details. And I wonder in your case, because you've mentioned some very important aspects there in terms of like financial, and do you think it's a case of, because I think we can overwhelm ourselves by trying to do all the shit at once, right? If you sit down with yourself and you think, okay, right, I think this is important, right? Assessing all these different areas of your life,
Right.
with friends, but I think we can perhaps overwhelm ourselves by trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
Do you think there's space then for people to go, okay, you know what, I'm going to focus on this for this period of time, bring that up, and then once that's in a maintenance phase, I can then bring the other part up? What's your sort of method of
Absolutely. I
that
think that's
blueprint?
like mixing. The way you even did it on the table was like mixing. Like it looked like you were mixing a record or something. Like you're an audio engineer. You gotta, okay, let me turn up this level. Okay, let me turn down that level a little bit. Let me turn up this a little bit. Okay, I need to go to church more. All right, maybe I need to go to the mosque. Okay, oh, I need to fast. I'm not feeling too good with the food. Ooh, maybe I should try this food. Maybe I should go get an allergy test because maybe I'm gluten intolerant. Okay, let me check that. Oh, don't do that. Okay, boom. Okay. Ooh, I really like this high rock stuff. Oh, I like this CrossFit. I don't really like this. I'm getting hurt over here. Let me just turn that. Yeah, I think it's always just an adjustment throughout life. You're always adjusting your character's design and then trying to figure out the flaws and your strengths and where you should double down. I think it's just know thyself. That's my favorite movie is The Matrix. And that was like the number one quote is know thyself, like that's what Neo had to do to be the one. He had to know thyself. So I think you need to figure it out by knowing thyself, which is asking yourself the questions, asking yourself, tuning in with yourself, trusting yourself. And then when you ask other people too, that's great. Everybody's good at giving advice, but not good at taking their own advice. You know what I mean? But like when you ask other people's advice, really pay attention to, do you want to be like the person you're asking the advice about? Is this the person that you want to be? And if it's not that, then why are you taking advice and listening to that person? A lot of people just go to their friends and family members like, yeah, but is this a professional in fitness or is this a professional in their own life with their relationship? Is their relation, like you said, is you hang out with people's relationship. My parents have been together for 26 years. I asked hey, Dad, I just got divorced 2 years ago. What I've been struggling with, what I'm going through. What advice do you have? And he's like, well, when I married your mom, I just found my best friend. So marry your best friend, That's very good common sense from somebody who's been married 20 plus years, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of the time we're not asking advice from people. This is what I found in my journey was I would ask people for advice, but actually I'm just asking for approval.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want permission to be able to do something. But then I think, hang on.
That's dangerous too. That's a dangerous thing to ask permission for other people because a lot of people will, they're projecting what they see for themselves or what they would do if they were you, but they're not you. So a lot of times they can hinder your progress and project their fears. And it's out of love a lot of the time. A lot of the time they're like, I don't want you to do that, Harrison, because I couldn't do that. Well, I'm not you. So why am I going to listen to what you would or wouldn't do, So you have to trust your gut. You have to believe in yourself and you have to be willing to fail forward.
How did you cultivate that self-belief then?
I'm still cultivating it every day, just knowing, Before we even start this podcast, I invoke the light of the Christ within. I'm a clear and perfect channel. Light is my guide. I'm grateful for my health, my wealth, my family, my friends, and my purpose. My mission on planet Earth is to spread love and light by creating art that encourages others to live and find their power. I have to say that to myself before I go to bed, when I wake up, throughout the day. I have to remind myself who I am. So a lot of you guys listening to this, I encourage you to write down who you currently believe you are and continue to tell yourself that over and over and over again. You know, you can listen to the podcast, and this is great. I'm glad you're listening to the podcast. You can watch the Instagram stories of your favorite content creator, and that's awesome. Great. Your favorite rock star, musician, favorite pastor, priest, whatever. I love that. But what's going on with you? How do you feel about you and your faith, whatever that is? You need to connect with you and give yourself advice, because it's so easy to give everybody else advice, but you got to give yourself advice. So I even had to do that the other day. You know, I'm going through this relationship situation right now where I'm like, man, I like this person, but do I love this person? Is this person good for me? And am I good for this person? You know, I had to really go through that, and I had to really look in the mirror and tell myself, hey, this is what the real truth is. Okay. I'm telling you. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror while I got my phone on with the voice recorder. I said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you need to be doing. This is what you should be focused on. This is what's going to happen if you do that, because you've already done this before in the past. So do I need to remind you again of what's going to happen again? Because this is what's going to happen again. So gave myself the message, saved it on my phone. And then whenever I'm feeling like, maybe, nope, go listen to that message you gave yourself a week ago or yesterday. I replay it for myself, you know? So it's just self-analyzation and speaking the truth. You got to speak the truth. Sometimes we lie to ourselves so much, man. We don't speak the truth.
Yeah, I think our ego gets in the way a lot of the time. I think this is why we fail to get those answers, because we like to believe that everything's okay, or okay, it's other people who are projecting onto us, and perhaps that's true, some of it, but I think we've always got to come back to ourselves, right?
100%. And the ego is like a loaded gun, because you need the ego. It can protect you. It can protect you for standing up for yourself and not being hurt and not being, and protecting. But a lot of the times with a loaded gun, you end up hurting yourself. Most people that have guns end up shooting themselves or getting shot by their own guns, or you end up shooting somebody else, God forbid, hurt somebody. When I say that, be shooting somebody else, I'm using that as in a term of like, if your ego is so high that you say something mean to somebody and hurt somebody's feelings, or you say something mean that was out of character, and now you look back at yourself like, man, why did I say that? That wasn't me, now I gotta apologize. And so the ego is one of those things where I feel like you use it when you need it, you keep it there, but you try to keep it in check as much as you can.
Yeah, and I think a good way to do that is to be observant of when you have that, when someone's activated something.
100%, 100%.
Just being open towards the signs, and chances are if you have a strong opinion about something, a lot of the time it's going to be because, there's some unresolved shit in there. Yeah, that's an opportunity to look at yourself. And I loved your analogy before of, you're going to have to keep on playing the same mission and you're going to keep on playing the mission. And I love that, because I always saw it as, right, okay, the universe will keep on teaching you the same lessons.
Right.
Even if you're not quite spiritually there yet, that's cool. But just look at life as lessons.
Yeah.
Okay, like, what is this trying to teach me? And you'll get into the same patterns every single time. I can certainly relate to that. I think for a lot of the time I was attracting a certain situation in my life, right? And I was looking, I never took a step back. And I think a big part of that is responsibility, right? Okay, how many times are you gonna, and again, it goes into that victim. It's easy to be a victim. Everyone's a victim.
Right.
And when you become a victim, you don't take control. There's no personal power there. And what's going to happen is you're going to keep on looking for other people to help you. No one's coming to save you, man.
No one's coming, man.
Nobody.
Yeah. How old are you, by the way?
25.
Oh, you're a baby, man. You're so intelligent. You're so wise. Excited to see where you're at in 25 years, man.
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to do one in 25 years.
Dude, 20, I don't know why I said 25. I could have said 5. I could have said 1 year. But I was like 25. I don't know, 50 years old. I don't know. I think like as a man, I feel really strong right now. I'm 31 years old, but I feel like 33 is going to be very special. And then I think 42 is going to be awesome. I don't think, I asked ChatGPT the other day. I was like, I've been asking it funny questions, and I was just like, hey, what's the optimal strength for a man in terms of everything that they have in their life going for them? Whether it's, monetarily and just physically and just wisdom and everything. And it said 42. I don't know. I just spit that answer out. So I was just like, okay. And it broke it down why, but I just thought that was cool. It said 42. So I was like, 42. Gives you perspective. It's like, where will I be in 9 years,
Well, I think that's what made life so exciting, and we take the magic out of life, and I think we create a lot of resistance and
Yeah.
struggle when we try and control the future. We have this vision, yeah, absolutely, have a vision of where you want to go, cool, but then be open to it changing and be open to life's experiences. Like you said, we don't know how long we're going to have here, so
Right.
I think the unpredictable nature of life, that's where we get the most joy in, and I think that's why, again, travel was such a big influence for both of us, because it's
Yeah.
just the unpredictable nature of it.
Yeah. What's your favorite country you've been to?
Oh, I would say a mix between Colombia and Argentina.
How was Colombia?
Colombia, it'd be interesting if I went back to it. I think at the time I love the sort of excitement of it, the unpredictable nature of
Right.
it. It was, and yeah, and similar to Bali, actually, you have the opportunity to give back there.
Really?
So in a way that, okay, right, even if you just gave maybe $5 or pounds, wherever it may be, to someone as a tip, it's going to make a huge
Means a
difference.
lot. Right.
Huge difference in their life. So I liked that. I love the weather, and the North Coast as well. It's like paradise, man. I
goodness.
don't know if you've ever been.
No, I've never been. I really want to come to Colombia. I really want to go. I've heard the Colombian women are some of the most beautiful women in the world. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to fall in love right now. I'm like, bro, I'm working on myself right now. But, that's no excuse. I should go. I need to go to Colombia. I need to go to Medellin. And, I need to go everywhere.
Oh yeah, there's so much happening there, and I think generally as well, women and men in South America, they're very open,
That's what I
very open
heard.
to receiving and giving love. So I think it would be quite aligned with you.
I just saw some statistics. Something was saying all the countries in the world that have like the ratings of which country everybody's more happy with their relationships. And Colombia was number one. I don't know why.
Again, I think because you have less there, right? And the more we have, like you were saying, I think the more stress and anxiety we're going to have.
That makes sense, because then there's this competitive edge on because you're comparing yourselves to everyone else. So it's like, even when I think about like dating, right? And it's like, where do I want to live in the United States? Which is really hard for me to like live in the United States now. I don't know. It's really hard for me. I just I don't find the same joy that I do, because my joy comes from relationships, and a lot of the relationships I feel like I have in America are transactional, and everything's business. And it's like, I felt that the first time I went to Eastern Europe. I was like, my buddies were like, let's go get coffee, and I was like, okay. And then we go get coffee, and it's like 4 hours of deep conversation. I'm like, do y'all not have work today? Or like, what's, what I mean? Like, you just chilling, which that's actually changed since the first time I went there 10 years ago. Now it's becoming more westernized. But like in America, we like, let's go get coffee. It's like, we go through the drive through at Starbucks. Or it's like, you want to sit down and have coffee? Are we talking business? Or like, why are we sitting down having coffee, talking about life? Like, just FaceTime me. What's up? So it's different. And that's what I feel like. I don't feel as present there, not that there is. But then I think about, well, where would I want to live if I was living in the United States? So I'm like, all right, well, I'll live in Miami. It's like, but then I live in Miami, man. If you're not making $30,000 a month and doing and literally hustling, and my friends in Miami, like, I really appreciate them and I love them, and they're high end entrepreneurs and penthouse apartments and Lambos and Ferraris, and I think all that's cool. I think that's great, but it seems like the pressure to keep up with the Joneses is starting. It's so much when I look at it. When I take a step back and I look at them and I look at what brings them value, I'm like, man, isn't that a lot on your shoulders? Like, it just seems a lot. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with it. I think that everyone should have what they need in life, and if they think that they need the best and deserve the best, I think that's great. But there's something about that I start to lose sense of reality when I walk down that path. I start to really lose sense of who I am when I go deeper into that materialism world. And when I'm renting penthouses and going out to places to be seen and to impress others, and in hopes of sleeping with girls that I shouldn't be with. And it's just it's a lonely road for me that I've had to experience, and I think that most of us will have to experience throughout our lives, especially when everybody that has that lifestyle is glorified, you know, whether it be the reality TV stars, which I've been, you know, and or the celebrities, and it's like they project that without this you are less. But all the traveling I've done has taught me that that's actually Hollywood playing the joke on all of us, because that's not it. Like, you know, that whole sentiment of I'd rather just be crying in my Rolls Royce or Ferrari. It's like, yeah, but I'd rather be just chilling in Bali with the Balinese people, kicking it, drinking some arak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with that. Like, you know, like, I'm cool with just being around, you know, tribes people and being with indigenous people. And, you know, that's cool. I'll come ride in your Bugatti too. Like, we could go kick it at race cars or do whatever. That's cool too. But it's like, I'm very careful with how I'm projecting myself online now, because I was telling a lie for so long when I was on TV and when I was projecting this lifestyle that I had made it. And it's like, really all you end up doing is making other people feel bad about themselves. You know, some people use it as motivation. Some people say, okay, that's Andrew Tate and I can have that and I can live that. It's like, yeah, but you're not Andrew Tate, dog. You know what I mean? Like, you're not. And that's his life. Not that you can't get to that level or you can't do, but you're not him, man. Be you.
I think that's where the big inspiration comes from. And I think the reason why, we touched upon this previously, the reason why I think you're an inspiration, and this is the message that I'm trying to create, is, okay, it's not about when people sort of do like video montages of their life and they show their lifestyle. I think it's, okay, right, the thing that we celebrate there is the authenticity. This person stepped into their own, they're just being themselves, right, and they're being different. 100%. And there's, I think, a big difference between that and just, hey, okay, here's my cool shit that I bought. And that whole system, it seems obvious, right? You look at it and you're just like, what game are they playing? Like, it's just so obvious. But yeah, I think it's so easy to get dragged into that. And you mentioned there, yeah, if you have your finances in order, then yeah, you're going to create more opportunities. You're going to be able to travel more and look after your family and your friends. So I wonder, in your experience, how you've sort of balanced that over the years in terms of, right, having that security, which is one of your blueprint or one of the parts of your blueprint, but then also not getting dragged into that.
Yeah, it's just having a different catalog. Like, what are you spending your money on? That's, for me, when I spend my money on travel, it's just like, I know experience over everything, right? And I think that I've learned so much from the Buddhist philosophy of just, you know, not being attached and detaching from people, places, and things, and still having love for each and every one of these things, but not being attached, because, you know, they believe that attachment is the root of all suffering. So me being attached to a vehicle or a penthouse or a person has only brought me so much suffering. It's only brought me so much suffering. These things aren't mine. This person isn't mine. Even when you get married in America, like, the first line is like, you are not each other's property. Like, they got to clarify, you guys are not each other's property, you know? So get that straight. And I think that so many people have so much pain because they feel like this thing is mine, you know? Like, you know, your car can get repoed tomorrow, bro. You know what I mean? You can go to jail. You can die. You know what I mean? So I have to remind myself, like, I don't own these things. I am a visitor on this planet. And I grew up with Lakota people. Shout out to all my indigenous people back home. I grew up with people that they don't their own land, you know, and we have this movement back home called Land Back. Shout out to Land Back, and it's about getting the indigenous land back. But if you talk to a lot of my indigenous brothers and sisters, you know, we're visitors on the land, man. We're visitors of this land, you know. We don't own land. So I'm trying to really, you know, have a balance between the corporate America and then also the spiritual side, because I think that if you're just one or the other, it's kind of like, do I want to be Darth Vader or do I just want to be Yoda chilling in the tent? It's like, nah, I want to be somewhere in between. Let me be Luke somewhere, you know. Let me figure out. I still want to be able to have influence in this world, but also have grounding and have my spirituality in check too. So just trying to find that balance is like, you always got to go back to the drawing board. I think it's just always just updating your hard drive and always self-analysis and changing, tweaking. Like you always said, that the DJ mixer thing you did earlier was awesome.
Yeah, and I think just constantly reassessing that, because and being open to change, right? Your
sir.
goals will change, your priorities will change, your friends will change, and yeah, I think with anything in life, there's only two things you can do. You can either change a situation or you can accept it, and I think anything else is just insanity.
Right.
I think it's like one of those two things, and I love that you mentioned there in terms of the identity piece. I think from what I've learned during this podcast is that depression or this depressive feeling, it arises because our ego has had a death, right? And a lot of the time it's because our ego or our identity was attached to external things, whether it was a partner, whether it was a possession.
Right.
And when that gets taken away, it's like, okay, who actually am I?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's especially in sort of the sportsman phase as well, like that's an example, or celebrity status. I think if you're attached to your profession and suddenly that profession gets taken away, then who are you?
Oh, it's so hard, man. I've had so many friends that are professional athletes that have lost everything, and then also trying to keep up with an image of what they're not. Like a lot of my friends were like in the NBA and thought they were Michael Jordan, but they weren't, and that it destroyed them. The pressure of doing some of these sports and being these people it's so much pressure, which leads to so much drugs and alcohol and depression, which I love. You know, another one of my superheroes that I was grateful enough to meet was Jim Carrey, and I love how he always says, like, you know, when you're having a depression, you need deep rest. You know, that's your body saying, I'm done with the character that I'm playing. I need to take this mask off because it's hurting me. It's hurting me, you know, and I've been in that position so many times where I felt like, hey, I'm selling my soul, compromising for this real estate company or for this reality TV show or for this record label or whatever it is that I'm in the moment. It's not serving my true identity, and I'm wearing a mask by being a part of it. So I think a lot of the depression people are facing is not being true and honest with themselves. I mean, obviously, clinically, depression, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if anybody's feeling that, they need to get help, and there's resources out there for them. You know, my mom's a therapist, so I would be smacked if I didn't say that, you know, but I think that when we're talking about the monkey suits that we wear all day, sometimes you got to take that suit off, strip down naked, and just, this is what it is, you know? Look at yourself, get a good look at yourself and be like, what is this? What am I going through? What have I been through? Where am I at right now? Is this job me? Okay, this job's not me anymore. This no longer serves me. I need to switch my career. I need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe I got to go back to school. Maybe I got to go get the certification. Maybe I got to learn something different. Maybe I got to start over, you know? And that's scary, but the worst thing is regret. And that's what I'm figuring out now is like, you know, yesterday I got hypnotized for the first time. And this awesome hypnotist, my boy Ibrahim, he's in Dubai, and he literally hypnotized me and walked me down a staircase and put me in a movie theater and literally talked to me about where I was in life. And he said, you know, what are you going to regret? And I'm like, damn, I'm going to regret if I don't do this one thing right now. Like, I got to chase my dream right now. and I know how to do it. I know who to do it with. I just got to sit my ass down, and it's hard. I don't want to do it, Harrison. I kind of just want to chill out here in Bali on the beach with some beautiful women driving my scooter around, chilling, drinking, eating a coconut. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to be doing, bro. But it's not it. I got to chase my dreams, and I know my team, and I know where I got to be, and Jibri has got to set himself free. God, it's hard, man. You got to push through. It's like till death do us part, man. I'm rocking with this podcast. And if you guys laughing at me, cool. Or if you guys don't want to rock with me and share my podcast, you don't want to follow me back, cool. But I'm going to keep doing this thing until I see it through. That's it. That's it. And I think when you decide you're going to do something and you're going to decide what it is, everything starts to fucking take you seriously because you're taking yourself seriously. So when you start to be like, yo, this is my dream, this is what I'm doing. And you see how I'm talking right now? I'm talking to myself right now. I'm talking to anybody listening to this, but this is flowing through me to me. So sometimes you have to talk like this to yourself. You have to really sit down and be like, hey, are we committed in this or not? Because you know what you want to do, but you're scared as hell. You're scared that you're going to be successful. A lot of times we're always scared we'll fail. No, it's easy to fail. You're scared it's going to work. You're scared it's going to work. What if it works? You're scared of that. You're scared of how great you can be. You're scared. And I don't know if that's because you've heard things when you were little or because you didn't quite believe in yourself or your insecurity. Well, guess what? We're all insecure. So are you going to believe in yourself and are you going to do what must be done? Or are you going to let time pass? And then next thing you know, you're going to live with that regret. That's what they say the richest places are in the world are not the diamond mines or not the fields with all, the coal mine or with all the gold or any of these places, the oil. No, it's in the graveyard. All these people died with these dreams that they never expressed. They died with all these thoughts and these plans that they never got out. They could have changed the world. There could have been 20 more Nikola Teslas up in that graveyard that never were able to express themselves because they didn't commit and they didn't give it all that they got. And I don't want to be one of those people, man. I'm not. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. And I encourage you, Harrison, and anybody else listening to this, don't be one of those people that dies with regret. And it's never too late. It's never too late. I don't care if you're 80 years old. It's never too late. You have to get that out, whatever that is. And I think to get that out, that's why I asked you what you like to do as a kid, because you have to go back to that childlike mind, because we're all creators. We're all artists until we get told that it's too hard and it's not going to make money and it's not going to work, whatever. No, we're all artists. We're all artists. And even if you're a doctor, you still love to paint. You should paint, goddammit. You should do what you love to do. You should still do that for you, for the sake of you releasing it, for your lineage.
Oh, so important.
Yeah,
Going
man.
back again, we've got we've got the opportunity to play this game of life.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, okay, we've come down to experience life in human form. Let's fucking make the most of it.
100%.
This is what I mean. And I speak to people and they say, yeah, I have this passion, but I don't know if you can make a career out of it. So just do it. And if your intentions are good and you're acting out of a place of love and you're following your passion, I think the rest of the stuff
100%.
will truly follow, man. And
yeah,
it's interesting because again, reflecting on my own upbringing, I remember there were two things I wanted to be. One was a pro wrestler and one was a football player.
Ooh.
The football player stuff, I remember being told, like I'd go for a trial at a football team and I'd be quite proud of it, and I'd tell people and they'd say, oh, did you hear that? Yeah, Harrison's got a trial here. Oh, okay, yeah, it doesn't really mean a lot. And you'd hear that as a kid and you absorb that, right?
Yes.
And that happened, I think, quite a few times. I remember I was playing drums and I said, yeah, I want to be a football player. And my drum teacher at school was like, oh, you're not going to be a football player, mate. You need to get a proper job. And this is what I mean. We get told this stuff when we're kids and then, it shuts down our fucking belief system.
Yeah, and they say in America, they say sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And I'm like, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will kill you. You know what I mean? Like words are, I'm very very careful with the words that I speak, man. And if I don't have nothing good to say, I'm not even going to say it. I really got to make sure that I'm putting life into people. I did this one thing in Bali. My first time coming to Bali was 2 years ago, and I went to the Bali Time Chamber. So I was out there with, are you familiar with the Bali Time Chamber? It's in the northern part of Bali, and it's an awesome, awesome retreat that this guy, Nico, set up. And so it's all the high fitness, high end men, and you just work out all day and get work done. And there's the most amazing food, and it's an amazing incubator. And so I was there, and I met this Russian guy who told me that I needed to go into the dark retreat because I was going through my divorce at the time. So I went into the dark retreat in Ubud, and I spent 3 days in pitch black by myself with no food, just water, just a coconut. 3 days. No, pitch black. They gave me a sheet of paper and a pen, but I couldn't see anything, so I don't know why they gave me that. But they leave you in there for 3 days, and you're just in there with your thoughts, man. You're in there by yourself with your thoughts. And that was one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life, because I tried to cheat it. They give you a coconut every day, and they put the coconut in this little box, and then they give it to you. And I was trying to count how many coconuts they had given me, and I was kind of starting to lose my mind in this room. And about day one, I think it was 24 hours in there, I started to talk to myself really deeply. And I was thinking about things that I had never thought before. So one of the things I thought is like, hey, when you get out of here, there's this girl that you met in elementary school. You remember her? And I was like, yeah, I remember that girl. It's like, yeah, you called her fat when you were in the 3rd grade. And that really severely hurt her for the rest of her life because you said that. So when you get out of here, you need to find her on Facebook, and you need to apologize to her for that. I was like, whoa, I'm even tearing up thinking about it. I was like, well, I don't even remember that. How did I think about that, man? I never thought about that, and it's like, that was wrong that you did that. That really hurt her. That was not nice, and I'm like, dang, I never even thought about that. But I had this time to detoxify and not have any dopamine, no stimulation, no phones, no nothing. And I was like, it was just me and God in there. And I was like, wow, okay, I'll reach out to her, And then 48 hours later, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little itchy in this room. I'm like, man, is there some spiders in here? And then I'm definitely afraid of spiders at the time, right? And so I'm in this room, and I'm like, is there spiders in here? And they're like, I heard a voice like, yeah, there's a spider in here. I was like, really? Where? I'm talking to myself, where is the spider? Spider in the corner of this room. I was like, oh shit, is it a big spider? And they're like, yes. And I was like, okay. And then they're like, but you're not afraid of spiders. I'm like, I'm not? No, your mom's afraid of spiders. And Arachnophobia, the Hollywood movie, made you afraid of spiders. And Harry Potter, the second Harry Potter with the spider cavern, made you afraid of spiders. When has a spider ever bit you? I don't know. When has a spider took you to the hospital? I never. Exactly. But there is something in this room that could hurt you. So what? That mosquito that's flying around. And I said, oh, but the spider's going to protect you from that mosquito. I was like, damn, I'm in the dark breaking this shit down by myself. Damn, bro. And when they let you out of that room, finally, they knock on the door. The most beautiful Balinese photo. Hey, I'm Swastiastu. I'm like, oh, that took some out. Thank you, God. Let me out this room. I walk out the room. I look, I see the waterfall. Oh, the beautiful Balinese. Oh, my goodness. I'm so thankful, grateful to be alive. And then I walk out and I look up. There's a big ass spider outside the room. Big ass spider sitting there. I'm like, damn, we cool. I'm still a little scared of your ass. You know what I mean? But gave me perspective, right? Gave me deep perspective, man. So yeah, shout out to Bali. Shout out to everything I've learned in Bali, man. Everybody should come to Bali once in their life.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to pull away from that. I think the important thing is our body, and when we can find out so much just by being with ourselves. But like you said, in this consumerist culture, we're always fucking busy, and I think it just, all this consumerism, you see it for what it is. It's just pulling you away from who you truly want to be, right? And it's just, once you become stuck in that system, it's like, okay, that's where you've lost your individuality, and
100%.
then you settle for a comfortable life because it's comfortable. Whereas I think if you push through that discomfort, you can enter a reality that you never even thought was possible, never even thought about the idea of it. By, again, if you just spent some more time with yourself and really thought about it and thought about what you want, and we can get so many answers. They're all within. We look external for all that stuff. It's not like you can, again, they'll be great and they'll be inspiring people, super inspiring mentors, and absolutely they can just show us the ropes. But all the answers in terms of like finding out joy and love for life, I think that all comes from
Internal.
within. All internal, 100%. And you mentioned upon a great point. I think I speak with men a lot, and I think one of the biggest problems I see throughout a lot of people is self-doubt. And they lack that self-belief. I think you've got to be almost delusional in a way.
Yeah.
You've got to be like, hey, this is going to be, I can take my example, this is going to be the best fucking podcast in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And people will be, and you've got to block out the noise, and you've got to create that reality. And if you are so certain that it's going to manifest into reality, then it will happen.
It will.
100%. And this is why you look at the people who've made the most change throughout history, right? Martin Luther King, great example. He believed in a world where black and white people would be treated equally.
100%.
At the time, when he first came up with that idea, if he had said that to everyone, they would have just laughed in his face.
Right.
They would be like, dream on. I don't know, like, you're a bit crazy. But he was so sure that he ended up creating that external reality, right? Because he had so much belief, and he 100%. Refused to let any noise in. And if you just refuse to let any noise in, then you just stay focused on your path, then the possibilities, I think, are endless.
Endless possibilities. Yeah, endless. You just have to, you gotta believe. You gotta believe. What's nice for you? What's nice for your belief system? What do you want to do?
I want to help as many nice guys, I'd say nice guys as possible, right? I want people to step into their authenticity, just reflecting on my own journey, right? Because for a long time I had low self-esteem and I was being nice to people, but it wasn't authentic, right? It was niceness as a strategy to gain the approval and love of other people. And again, it ties in with authenticity.
Right.
I want people to embrace their authentic self. And by doing that, I think they'll love themselves and spread love throughout the world, right? Exactly how you've been doing. So again, if you can help people break away from this sort of nice guy syndrome and show them, okay, the world is safe.
Yep.
You just have to be authentically yourself, and the right people will gravitate towards you.
100%.
And I think so many people need that. And a lot of the guys I work with, they're actually really intelligent people, and they happen to be very smart, but they've just got a lack of self-belief. And my mission is to show people, look, anyone can create their reality. You can create whatever reality you want.
Right.
You've just got, and I think anyone can rewire their brain, anyone can transform themselves, right? It's ordinary people who do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've created this incredible life for yourself where you're traveling around the world. Again, people might see that on the surface, but behind that is just, again, with all due respect, someone who was, ordinary place where they were going through struggles. And you mentioned there, like suicide attempts, depression. And if you are a great example, this is the reason why I created the podcast as well. It's to showcase that you've been through that. You've been through the tough times. You've come out the other side. Anyone can do that.
Yep.
So my mission is, and it's infinite amount of people, right? Again, it's to inspire. And again, I think I'm going to be open to change as well. Perhaps that mission will change in 5 years, 10 years, wherever it may be. But that's at the moment, at this point in time, that's what I feel my purpose is. It's to help nice guys. It's to help people step into their authenticity and show up to the world the best place that they possibly can be.
And you do that through helping them tell their story? Is that your idea?
Yes, my idea is, we explore their sort of beliefs about the world, and I show them, hey, this is your belief system. This is why, okay, it's not an accurate reflection of who you are. And then we go through a process of, okay, so we've uncovered that these are limiting beliefs, right? They're not a true reflection of who you are. And then I go through like a 4-step framework at the moment in terms of how they sort of can rewire their brain and step into their authenticity. And a lot of it is, like you said, it's pretty simple, right? It's just, have the awareness, first of all, of your patterns.
Yes.
And that's an endless process.
Yep.
That's an endless process. We're always cultivating an awareness. We're learning about ourselves all the time from other people. Second is taking responsibility. Like we said, it's very easy to adopt this victim mindset and think the world is happening to you.
Yep.
But life can happen for you, right?
For you.
And then the third is just action, right?
Yep.
Okay, you've taken responsibility. Now let's just do the work. Like you said, just keep fucking showing up for yourself every day. And again, the fourth is just, I think the reason why this is the final step, because I think once you've mastered this, then I think you can unlock that joyful life, and that's authenticity.
Being authentic.
Just being 100% yourself around people. And that's an endless journey in and of itself, right? But it's
hard.
never
You're always
ending.
reinventing yourself.
Always.
But why would you be anybody else but you? Because everyone else is already taken. I wish you success, man. Success on your journey, success on this podcast, success in your pursuit to help other men become the greatest versions of themselves, and to not be just nice, but to be great.
Be good, right?
Be good. Be great. Yeah.
Yeah, be great.
Because just being nice is it's not nice to yourself. If you're just nice to everybody else, but you're not nice to yourself, that's counterproductive. So I love that your mission, and I love that you invited me on here, and I'm grateful to be on here. And thank you, man.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on. I think, yeah, such an inspiration, and yeah, so many nuggets of wisdom in here. And I think just showing up in the way that you are, I think is, yeah, inspiring to many. So, mate, I appreciate you.
Success.
This has been fucking awesome. What we'll do, we've got a closing tradition on the podcast.
Yes.
So we've got 3 questions.
Okay.
The first 2 we do for every episode, and then the third one is asked by a member of the Growth Voice community on Instagram.
Okay.
So we ask our audience for a question they'd like to ask. First one is a song recommendation.
Song recommendation. Song recommendation I have. Let me look. I was trying to think of one off top, but let me see what I would recommend. Ooh. The majority of the audience is male audience, or no?
It's interesting. Even though the podcast is directed towards men, I think a third of our listeners are female.
Okay. You know what? I'll self-promote my own. I have this Serbian song out called Popila. So if you type in Jibri Bell, Popila. That's a Serbian song that I just put out 2 months ago. So I'm gonna plug my own song in there. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Popila. It's cool. You might not be able to understand everything, but you can watch the YouTube video on YouTube. It's pretty fun.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that how long have you been doing that for?
This was my first single that I ever released in Serbian. So I try to tell like my love stories through music. So right now I'm working on another little heartbreak song.
Damn. Okay. Oh, there's so much.
And I did a country song when I got married.
Wow.
And so, yeah, man, it's been a journey. I love music, bro. I love it so much.
And I love that you're using it to describe stories as well, right?
I just tell my story of my life, and then I can kind of explain to people what I was going through at the time through the music.
Yeah, I love that. And again, when we went back to Western society, there's a lot of noise out there, and the values are a bit, I don't know, I personally don't really resonate with them, right? I think it can be quite, there's an emphasis on sex, drugs, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place and a time for that, but for me, I'm just like trying to figure out what love is and how I can be the best partner and how I can find the one for me. But maybe all of the ones that I've been with were the one for me in different lifetimes. So it's been pretty cool journey, bro. Like I love love and I love heartbreak. Heartbreak is beautiful, man.
I love that.
It's so beautiful. It hurts so much, and it's just so inspiring. You know.
Again, we've got this opportunity to explore.
Romeo and Juliet, man.
Yeah.
You said the depths of who?
Well, the depths of human emotion.
Oh, the depths of human
emotion.
Yeah. Oh, man.
This is what I mean. We resist this stuff. But
You resist it.
It's just, you can't resist this. This is life. And we need to, instead of trying to remove these emotions that we perceive as negative, I think let's just change our perception with them and learn to fall in love with it, right?
Just grateful, man. You hurt me. Oh, let me write a song about it. Hopefully it's a song like Adele, because she was winning Grammys out there. You know what I mean? Whoever heard Adele, shout out to whoever heard Adele, but oh man, got that girl some Grammys.
Yeah, I'll be checking it out.
Thanks, bro.
Second one is a book recommendation.
Book recommendation. The Power of Now popped into my head, but I think that that's a very common one. Obviously, my favorite book is The Alchemist, but I think that's also a very common one. I think The Artist's Way is a great workbook if you need to work on some creativity. So out of those three, I would choose probably The Power of Now. I think that that's good for everybody, just to be present in the moment. I think that would help everybody.
Yeah, I love that. And like you said, it's widely known, but a lot of people think, okay, yeah, I've heard about that, but it is genuinely a game changer, right?
I think just being here now, like, it just helps you remain present. Helps you, especially in this world where everybody's worried about what's going to happen in politics, and with after everything we've been through the last couple of years, just it's kind of changed and shaped the world differently. So now is the present is a gift. So yeah, The Power of Now book recommendation.
Absolutely, man. I love that. And it ties into before about, where you found the magic in these different countries and how present they are in Bali. And yeah.
Just even thinking about recommending that book has brought me to be right here. Just saying The Power of Now made me realize, oh, yeah. I'm right here on this podcast. This is awesome. And I'm glad that I'm one of the beginning guests, on your podcast, or like the first year. That's awesome because it's your first year. So that's cool. Like, I'm just here now.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, third one. We've got a question from one of our audience members. Let's have a look. Okay. Oh, so many suggestions here.
Whatever one. Randomize it.
Okay, right, we'll go this one. Actually, yeah, this guy has given us a suggestion of great questions, so going to dive in. It's from Callum McKenzie.
Shout out to Mackenzie.
And he says, what are you most proud of about yourself?
I'm most proud of my ability to inspire others, my ability to lead others, and encourage others to really take risk and follow their dreams and be the greatest version of themselves. That would probably be my favorite superpower, is my commanding shout. I say, let's go. Like, I really just turn people up with that, man. I really am able to really just bring energy everywhere I go and light up the darkness, man. So that's my God-given gift that I'm grateful that I have.
Yeah, and you can see it, you can feel it, man.
Yeah,
You're
man.
making a huge impact on the world, and
Thank you, brother.
just by being you, and
Man, thank you.
yeah, such an inspiration.
Just getting started, man. We're just getting started. Just wait for it. Wait for it. You gotta have faith. Faith is the antidote to failure. You gotta have faith. Faith that it's gonna be better. And then just be here now and enjoy what you got now. We got water. I got some tea with some honey and a cool spoon. Microphones. Air conditioning. But just the access to clean water is huge. You got to drink the rest of your water, bro. We got to drink our water, bro. Like, the access to 1 out of 4 people don't have access to clean water in the world.
So that, wow.
1 out of 4. So the fact that we even have this clean water right here. And this is a great thing too for the power of now. Like, when you drink water, just drinking water will help you be present, but it'll take you into kind of out of that reptilian brain when you're like mad or angry or upset, man. Just drink a glass of water before you respond back or do anything. Just, you take a deep glass of water, you can process everything better.
I love that.
Shout out to water. Shout out to Bruce Lee. You got to move like water, like Bruce Lee, man.
I love that. And I think that's with everything, man. Just take it slowly and really like embrace it. I'm trying to do that with food as well. Yeah, especially if you're eating alone. You know, rather than just.
And you a big guy. You probably eat a lot. How many calories do you eat per day?
I've never counted.
You never count it.
Never counted.
Why not?
Well, I was actually speaking about this on one of the previous podcasts with Nick, and he said, right, whatever you believe will be your reality. So for me, I've always believed don't need to count. The only thing I do count is protein. So
Okay.
or I would make sure I'm just eating a fuck ton of protein.
Right.
So double your body weight in protein. But my mentality's been, okay, I live an active lifestyle. I just need to eat calories, and
Right.
maybe there is a place where I could like, optimize it further. But my mentality's just been right. Eat until, well, it used to be just eat a fuck ton of stuff.
Right. Just eat food.
Now, as we were discussing before, hey, eat until 80% full.
Right.
I think. And as long as I'm getting in enough protein, yeah, never counted.
So you eat once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day?
Once a day.
Once a day. So you eat a big meal once a day.
Yeah, but that time window, I really take my time for the meals.
Okay.
So rather than trying to scoff it all down in 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, right, let's allocate like an hour and a half to just
eating.
Yeah, and just like eat a lot of food. But then, okay, if I feel like it's getting to that full point, all right, let's just take a moment to just breathe a bit and maybe just sit, and again, getting into that, making sure I'm actually being present.
Yeah.
Eating,
Then I think you got it figured out. It seems like you've got it really figured out. If your intuition is there, I think the counting of the calories is a little bit. Sometimes it can feel like it constrains you, but also it's like, man, you check what comes in and out of your bank account, so you should check what comes in and out of your body and what you know. But I think somebody with you who has had a lot of experience and has always been an athlete, you kind of know at this point.
Yeah, it depends what your goals are as well, right?
Right.
So if are
you trying to maintain?
Honestly, at this point, it's just it's really funny. So at first it was just okay, maintain and then put on muscle size, right? But then as I've gone on now, I've realized, okay, all I want is to be healthy and feel good,
Right.
and get stronger,
Right.
So that's why I was transitioning into the strongman classes now. So if I'm just getting stronger and I'm injury free, then
You're good to go.
I'll just eat as much as I want, as long as it's good quality food, right?
Eat.
I'll just eat until like I've never thought about it at all. I've just avoided stuff I just listen to my body. If it makes me feel shit, then I won't eat it.
Right.
This is why I think when we talk about, people get addicted to food and, but I love sugar so much. It's just pay attention to how sugar actually makes you feel.
Right.
And then it's like you won't actually want it anymore.
No.
Right? It's the same with alcohol. It's the same with anything, right? Pay attention to how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel shit, then don't have it anymore.
Don't eat it.
That's my mentality. I'll eat, but mate, give me like some nice chicken, or even like treat myself to salmon once in a while, avocado, like whatever, all this nice stuff. Give me as much as you want. I've never counted. I'll have as much as that as I physically can.
And just go.
And then I'll just go. And that's it. That's it, man.
The warrior diet. They call that the warrior diet, bro. You're a warrior.
Fuck yeah,
You're
man.
a warrior. Yeah, man. Grateful to be here. Thank you so much, brother, for having me on your podcast. Again, I wish you success. I don't wish you luck because I don't believe you need luck. I just believe that you need consistency and belief in yourself like you teach other people. So continue doing that. Continue putting out as much content as possible. And anything that you see that you might not personally like, that's all right, because that might be the piece of content that puts somebody onto your platform, and this platform could potentially change their life. So don't overanalyze. You just need to realize that perfection is death. Perfection is what's going to stunt your growth. When you just believe and you have faith and you put it out there for the world and you give it all, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So don't give up. The only way it won't work is if you stop.
What's the saying? Perfection gets in the way of action.
Perfection gets in the way of action. Yeah, because then you're analysis paralysis and you're sitting there thinking, oh, is this good enough, or how do I look, or that? And that's not nice for you to do. That's not what you teach. You teach to be good. And in order to be good, you have to show the shots that you make and the shots that you take that you don't make. That's how you know. You're showing everything, not just a highlight reel. You're showing the real life you, Harrison, building his brand. Success.
Yeah, I love that, brother.
Success.
Thank you. Appreciate your words.
Thank you, man.
Oh, did you want to maybe give a shout out to what you're doing, the projects you're working on, where people can find you.
Yeah. You guys can find me just by following me on all social medias at Jibri Bell, JIBRIBELL, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And if you need daily motivation, you can follow me there. I have a group called the Angel Alliance. It's in my bio. Awesome community where we uplift each other and help each other become the best humans possible. And I hope each and every one of you guys watching this has an amazing day. And I hope that you guys really take risk and do what it is that you feel in your soul you must do on this planet.
I love that. I love that, brother.
That's it, bro. Simple. Short and simple, man.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.